And this one sits just outside, one of the betting trends that we've seen over
Hmm.
the years, where underdogs of 6.5 points are 27, 13, and 1 against the spread in week one. That's 67%. So if this one moves to 6.5, I know that's not the way that trends work, but I think the overlying, trend here is just that it's week one of the season. We see
Right.
chaos every single year. And so for me, I will not be laying anything close to a touchdown, I think, in the first week of the year.
I'm going to do it. Line open at Seahawks -4.5. So money has been piling in on Seattle. So I don't know. Maybe it's too big now, but that's the one thing that stands out to me. I'll also say that the Cowboys were at the Browns, and the Browns are laying 2.5. The Browns are -140. The Cowboys are +115. The total is 42 and a hook. And PJ was talking about this yesterday about how he's really going to go all in on Cleveland at least this week. And you know what? I think he's right in a big way. And I wouldn't mind the Browns on the money line, but if you look at the Cowboys away from home, they were really good at home last year. Not so much on the road. And I don't know how they're going to run the football. Like, did the Cowboys just decide in the offseason that it's not important to run the football? Like, Zeke is back, and I love Zeke as a personality. He belongs with the Cowboys. But let's be honest, his best days are far behind him. He's the guy you put in on a 1st and goal from the 2, and you let him just hammerhead his way into the end zone and maybe score. But the Cowboys seem, at least for me, I understand the running game is devalued in today's NFL. They just don't have anyone back there. I mean, they'll sign a veteran or two or something, but they don't have anyone they can really rely on back there. I think the Browns at less than 3 is another game that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I'm wondering if some of those trends that we saw from last year, how much do they carry over year to year? Because again, you say the Cowboys really bad on the road last year, or, more succinctly, the Cowboys were really good at home last year. But if you look at the schedule, they played a bunch of really crappy opponents at home. So maybe that was kind of tipping the scales in their favor. But I don't know. This has kind of been a thing for the Cowboys. We know they have one of the best home field advantages in football simply because people love the Cowboys. They like playing in the confines of their own place. But still, we'll see. I think the Browns defense certainly scares me. And you're right. It feels like a Cowboys team that could be one dimensional this year. You look at this Browns defense from last year, it started out of the gates historically good. This is one of the best defenses in the league. So if they can make the Cowboys one dimensional and it's Dak that's having to beat them, I think my money would still be on the Bears. But I don't know. We'll see if that trend continues to this year. The Cowboys not being good on the road.
What do you think? You're big on the Rams this year. So Sunday Night Football, we get the
Mm-hmm.
Rams at the Lions. The Lions are laying 3.5. The Lions are -175 on the money line. And then yes, that's right. Rams are
Mm-hmm.
+145, and the total is 51. So this should be a great way to open up Sunday night. Are you going to back your Rams in this spot?
I think this is a good teaser leg. If you can get them all the way to 9.5, I think the Rams can certainly keep it close. I think the big question marks for the Rams this year is going to hinge on their defense. Of course, Aaron Donald leaving a huge hole. Also, that's probably why the total is sitting at 51. But last year we saw all kinds of offense going between these two teams. So I would imagine we see very much the same thing this year. That's why that total is sitting so high. But I think it's going to be a teaser leg for me. So, Jenks, I love my teasers. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to think if I want to do a primetime teaser with the Rams getting 9.5, and then we'll do the Jets getting 9.5 for that Monday night game. Because I do think the Jets and the Rams both stand a chance in these games. I don't know if I'd pick them to win outright, but
Yeah.
maybe it's a closer game than 9.5 points because you're going through so many key numbers when you go from 3.5 to 9.5 that I feel like that's a pretty solid play.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I think that's very good. This should be a close game. Although I will say, when it comes to the spread, I think I would lay it with the Lions. I'm worried about the Rams early on in game one because right now they've got a lot of injuries on the offensive line. I think Matthew Stafford has been struggling with, a hamstring injury. And I was reading that, okay, he's going to go, but ideally he might even take a game or two off just to kind of get right, but he can't afford to do that because don't they have Jimmy G as their backup? And hasn't he been suspended because of PEDs, at least early on?
Mm-hmm.
So Stafford's going to give it a go. They're already kind of banged up on that line. Sunday night week 1 opener in Detroit. I kind of like the Lions here. I'd rather get it at 3 than 3.5. But as far as your teaser goes, yeah, I like that teaser.
Yeah, and plus, don't you think Matt Stafford wants to be up for this game? Like, because remember, the NFL schedule makers know what they're doing. Matt Stafford back in Detroit. And here's the thing about Matt Stafford, it feels like he is one of the toughest guys in the NFL. I watched him run all over my Titans with like a broken collarbone or something. So if anybody can gut through the pain, I think it's Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I think he can do it as well. I think ideally he can get through it. It's just ideally if you're the Rams, I mean, do you really want to start the season with your QB1 already kind of hobbling a little bit or banged up? No, it's not ideal. But yeah, you're right. He's as tough as it gets in the National Football League, so I don't mind that. And I'm really excited about Monday Night Football as well. I still can't decide what I want to do here. Jets are at the Niners. The Niners are laying 3.5. The Niners are minus 200. Jets are plus 165. The total is 43. I sort of want to lean to the under because we know how good that Niners defense is. The Jets defense is fantastic. And I could potentially see a very defensive-minded battle, even though you have a lot of talent offensively on both sides of the football, especially with the Niners. I kind of like the under, at least initially. Miami, all of a sudden, the favorite at plus 170. Clemson is 3-1. Louisville 7-1. NC State, SMU 10-1. I honestly can't believe Miami is plus 170.
Yeah, feels like a trap.
Does it feel like a trap? Bill and I thought this would be minus money because their schedule is nothing. They don't play anybody. They play Florida State at one point, and Florida State's season is over. I mean, Mike Norvell's got a tough job ahead of him, motivating this team for the rest of the year. And Miami has a potential Heisman Trophy winner, or certainly a candidate in Cam Ward. I mean, I don't mind plus 170, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's more about the quarterback situation. Because in college football, if you have a good and trustworthy quarterback, and I know it's only one game, that feels like the cheat code. And Cam Ward, it looks like Miami hit the pay dirt when they got him. Looked incredible against the University of Florida. Had some really good numbers. Went 26 of 35, 385 yards, a completion percentage of 74%, 3 touchdowns in that game. So I feel like that's the thing for me. Because you look across the board, what are the other quarterbacks you want to trust? Maybe you could make a case for Grayson McCall out of NC State, but here's the problem with NC State. I looked at their defense in week 1. It was not great. When you're giving up 21 points to Western Carolina and 361 yards of offense, that's not boding well for a team that will be facing Tennessee this week. And I know that doesn't count towards ACC standings, but still, I think my money would still be on the University of Miami simply because of the quarterback situation.